It was a warm, sunny afternoon, and I had just moved into a picturesque neighborhood on the outskirts of a charming little town. The birds were singing, the flowers were in full bloom, and life couldn't have felt more idyllic. My new house, a quaint cottage with a white picket fence, was surrounded by lush greenery, and I couldn't have been happier. The small community welcomed me with open arms. Neighbors introduced themselves, children played in the streets, and there was an overwhelming sense of camaraderie. I quickly became friends with Sarah, a woman around my age, who lived just a few houses down. She was kind, funny, and we had an instant connection. Our days were filled with laughter as we shared stories, explored the town's picturesque nooks, and enjoyed the local coffee shop. Life seemed perfect, and I had finally found the sense of belonging I'd longed for. One day, as I was rearranging furniture in my new home, I stumbled upon a letter tucked away in a drawer of the antique writing desk. I'd bought from the previous owner. The envelope was plain, with my name handwritten on it in elegant script. I assumed it was a welcome letter from one of the neighbors. How wrong I was. I carefully opened the envelope and read the letter inside. It began innocently enough, with words of welcome and neighborly goodwill. But as I read on, I felt a growing unease. The writer claimed to have been watching me, observing my every move since the day I moved in. They described my routines, the friends I had made, and even the times I'd ventured out of town. It was as though they had been shadowing me, hidden in the darkness, unknown to me. The final sentences of the letter sent shivers down my spine. It read, "You are the missing piece I've been searching for, and soon we'll be united forever. Prepare yourself for a grand revelation." It was signed with a sinister, "Yours truly." Panicking, I showed the letter to Sarah, who was equally disturbed. We decided to take it to the local police, who assured us they would investigate. They advised me to be cautious, but there wasn't much they could do at that point. The following weeks were filled with paranoia and fear. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was always watching, lurking in the shadows. I installed security cameras around my property, locked my doors and windows obsessively, and even considered moving away. But Sarah convinced me to stay and face this ordeal head-on. Another letter arrived a few days later. This one was even more chilling, as it contained intimate details of my life, things only a stalker would know. They mentioned my childhood, my secrets, and even hinted at personal experiences I'd never shared with anyone. The writer seemed to know me inside and out. I couldn't eat or sleep properly. Anxiety gripped me, and I felt like a prisoner in my own home. Sarah was my lifeline, offering support and a place to stay when the fear became too much. The police investigation led to dead ends. The letters were always sent from different post offices, making it impossible to trace the origin. There were no fingerprints, and the surveillance footage showed nothing suspicious. It was as though the stalker was always one step ahead. As time went on, the letters became more threatening, promising to reveal my darkest secrets to the world if I didn't comply with their demands. They wanted me to leave town, cut all ties with my friends, and disappear. It was an impossible choice, but I couldn't risk my safety or the safety of those I loved. I reluctantly decided to follow the stalker's demands. It meant cutting ties with Sarah and leaving behind the life I had come to love. My heart ached, and tears flowed freely as I said my goodbyes. Sarah, too, was heartbroken, but she understood that my life was at stake. I moved to a remote cabin in a secluded area, far from the life I once knew. The isolation was unbearable, but it was the only way to keep myself safe. The stalker's letters stopped for a while, and I hoped they had given up. Months turned into a year, and I had learned to adapt to my new, isolated life. I missed Sarah and my old friends terribly, but the fear of the stalker kept me from returning. Then, one day, a final letter arrived. The tone was different this time, almost mournful. The stalker claimed to have loved me all along, to have been driven to this by their obsession. They expressed regret for the torment they had put me through and revealed a shocking secret. They were someone I had known all my life. The writer confessed to being a childhood friend who had grown up with me, someone I had trusted completely. They spoke of shared memories and the deep, unrequited love they had felt for me. It was a heart-wrenching revelation, and I couldn't fathom who it might be. The letter ended with an ominous statement: "We shall be together, one way or another." It was a threat and a promise, and it sent a cold chill down my spine. I was torn between wanting to confront the stalker and fearing for my life. I knew that the police couldn't help me, as the stalker's identity remained a mystery. The isolation was unbearable, and I was slowly unraveling. One fateful night, as I sat alone in my cabin, a figure appeared in the darkness. It was Sarah, who had tirelessly searched for me. She had uncovered the stalker's identity, and the shock of the revelation had left her reeling. She confessed that she had been the one all along, driven to madness by her love for me. The truth was almost too much to bear. Sarah had been my closest friend, the person I had trusted with my life, and she had become my worst nightmare. As I looked into her tearful eyes, she raised a knife and lunged at me. I managed to escape, but the damage was done. I had lost my friend, my sanity, and the life I once knew. In the end, the happy beginning had turned into a sad and terrifying nightmare, and the scars from that period of my life would remain with me forever.